So coming to what you said about that fine line of how sounding like you love yourself could be arrogance and not confidence, that fine line that is drawn between the two is actually something that people should be thinking about. Being around somebody that loves themselves in a healthy way is a safe space, because only hurt people, only people that don't fully love themselves will go out and be malicious and actually stumble other people. But if you are whole and healed and you kind of get yourself from the inside, and you are not the clothes you wear, you're wearing the clothes, then you're good to be around. And that's good for everybody. And that's why confidence can be a do.
Veronica, it's round 2, and I appreciate you for, showing up. And we had a bit of a conversation before. I previously understood you taking a leap of faith by leaving South Africa to go to the Netherlands, and you landed a very, very good job, and then you even took another leap to start your own business in a foreign country, which is amazing. I've always watched your journey, having worked together now, from a distance, seeing you leave South Africa, beautiful South Africa, leaving a corporate job, starting a business. But what's really happening behind the scenes lately? What's really happening that I don't have insight on through social media or a fly in the wall? What's really happening?
Yeah, it's good to see you again, Jason, and always good to be here. Yeah, very good questions, super thought-provoking. I must be quite honest, every single time I take a leap into something new, especially something so big that it shifts my natural environment and my comfort zones, I can't always see the clear path ahead of me. And what's been happening right now is, more than ever, I can't 100% see what the road is ahead of me. The last 12 months, and particularly the last 10 months, where I went more on this solo entrepreneurship journey, where I'm in this foreign country, and it's a bit of a foreign language, and it's foreign culture and systems that I'm trying to navigate, and building new relationships, and also the big shifts in technology and just strategy inside of business. I think the biggest thing that people don't see on social media is the shift that took place inside of me. I kind of went a little bit more quiet, because I realized in the uncertainty, there was so much of me being revealed, and something that I couldn't see so clearly before. Like, I feel before I had like a really naive, fake confidence, in a sense. I was really like stepping into things I knew. I'd been in a couple of corporate careers. It was a bit autonomous to me. I knew I could transfer skills. I was, a capable communicator. But this time around, what was different is on the moments where I had to look at myself and be like, okay, but this could fail and become a real disaster, or I could be in spaces that isn't quite working out the way I wanted it to be, and it's slightly intimidating, and there's no other comfort to fall back on. So behind the scenes, a lot of it's been like deep reflection, lots of writing, a nervousness where I have to pull myself outside of a routine together, and there's no one, kind of like we were speaking about before, waiting for me to come in and speak to them at 9:00 or be in a certain meeting. It was just me now, keeping myself accountable. And that's a really cool place to be.
Thank you for saying it's cool, because the reality also, it's dark. The reality, it's technically lonely.
Oh, yeah.
The reality, it's also dangerous, because you are your own worst enemy in those spaces.
Yeah, well said. Yes. Yeah.
You know, you there's something that I always say. It's in those moments, you know, where you're faced by yourself, you don't have a brand to 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 lean on. You don't have a process to lean on when a client sort of says, "I want a refund," and you didn't think about it. You're like, "What?" A refund? But like you know, big companies and things have thought about these processes. So now you go back and sit with this thing alone. And I always say it's the work that you do when no one is looking that counts. It's
Yes.
the reps that no one sees that counts, you know? And those are the reps you're doing. So like, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so then with this transition and you know this introspection that is you know almost dawned on you through entrepreneurship, and a lot of entrepreneurs go through this journey, which is I think beautiful. Like you said, it's cool. How would you sum up work and life in one word? Because you know a lot of the time me and you we talk about like you know work and professional, but like life itself, like how could you sum it up? And even if it doesn't have to be one word, but like sum that side up, because I think a lot of us don't know to see that side.
Yeah, I think it's such a valuable question you're asking right now. And that was actually one of the points that really struck me during this time. It's that it's connected. It's not separate.
Mm,
My work and my life isn't really separate. The version I am isn't sitting in two different spheres. I'm the same person at work as I am in my personal life. And when you are in a comfortable kind of corporate space, you kind of sometimes feel it separate because there's the culture fit that you have to be a part of. And then
mm,
there's the things that you have happening at home. On this lonely journey where you are your biggest voice and there's no affirmations that you can receive from people or kind of feel good huddles and check-ins in the week, it's you quickly feel the burden of yourself and what you need to do to keep moving on the hustle. And I feel like it's an important place for you. It's also giving you freedom, but it's something that you have to realize. It's this connectedness of this full thing, full person that you are in both hustling for work, for money, a career, and yourself.
mm. Freedom, you mentioned that word, right? And it's got a word free, and nothing comes for free, right? And you know, you alluded to very like empathetically that you had to sort of let go of parts of you while you are in the Netherlands. You know this, and those parts were served you well um, in South Africa and wherever you are. You know, the more like the you know you called it aggressive. You know, like
Yeah.
you used to take things aggressive. What are then some of the things you had to give up recently in order to grow?
Comfort, when you talk about freedom, the first thing that kind of comes to mind is like financial freedom, because that's an important thing. Initially, comfort is something I had to let go of, and a big part of my ego.
Mm,
In my mind, having been successful and moving here and having, a job with an important title, you confuse that status for accomplishment. And, um, you know, albeit I can keep kind of sustaining and moving forward and looking at bigger growth goals, but there's a level of comfort that is taken from me when you have that
mm,
status where you're just all of a sudden you are this, there's no big brand, there's this nothingness around you. And there's this idea of somebody you wanted to be. In my head, at some point, I was thinking, probably saying things like, if there's no seat at the table, I will build my own table, this like big boss lady, person. And now I'm more of a, I feel like I've matured a bit in my mind. The status isn't so important. The always being right isn't so important. Being able to come up with new ideas and sustain myself is, but wealth in terms of financial gain isn't important. To me, being able to level-headedly say to myself, I'm brave enough to step out in new spaces and learn deeper things about myself and come up with new concepts. I've definitely stretched my technical capabilities being in this space, something that comfort before couldn't have given me. I feel is important, and I'm okay with kind of having it taken from me alongside my ego of thinking I'm this super accomplished woman, to coming back down to earth and finding myself having better conversations that stretch deeper, and they open up more room for learning other things from people. So yeah, definitely those two things.
Is confidence is comfort on the same room and level as freedom? Because I thought when you are comfortable, which you say has been taken away from you, your comfort has been taken away, you are free. But you just mentioned you are now more free but uncomfortable. Like, explain that world to me.
Remember, the concept of the world that we live in is capitalistic. So comfort looks like the white picket fence, the house. It's a traditional structure of things. And that's when you achieve it, sometimes feel like, hey, I must be doing life right. I have a sense of freedom. But it's not really living on the same plane. Half the time you're living someone else's life, someone else that had defined the system around you and which looks like success. For me, that comfort and freedom comes from being able to test beyond my limits of creativity, being able to see just how brave I am, being able to see how quickly I can pivot to come up with a new plan, learning about how resilient I am, learning about how I can perceive others' perspective and become more compassionate and empathetic. Learning that I am, not afraid of pivoting and trying something new kind of makes me feel like I'm in the comfort of learning about the fullness of who I am outside of a concept of a system, which redefines freedom as something else.
100%. Sure. That's deep. That is deep. And, it's a great definition without even asking of what freedom means to you, It seems like freedom to you is the ability to be tested, the ability to experiment, the ability to be courageous and brave, It doesn't mean at this stage of your life, that white picket fence, feet on the couch. That's not how you define freedom, which is, and it goes to a point. You're not living someone else's life. You're living yours, and that's why you're defining freedom, which is powerful. That's why I say, that's very, very deep. Thanks for that. I think I need to introspect and think like, what do I associate freedom with? Bravery and courage, right? Those are like, I think those are also words that define Veronica really well. Yeah, she's a brave lady. Courageous. Those are very much can sit right in the same room, and you guys can dance together. Those words, if there were people,
Yeah.
But
Thanks.
I think with that comes the world where, let's say, you're walking into a room, right? Like you want to create that table, that space, that business for yourself. There must be times where you're out of your depth. Out of your depth, right? Like, true, right? And now, you walk into this room and I think, for me, sometimes when I walk into a room and I'm out of my depth, I technically feel like I'm falling down a mountain, but I'm falling on the side. So there is ability to grab, but I'm falling. You know, what is it for you? What does that feeling look like, right, for you? And what do you do with that feeling, right? So describe that feeling for us. The moment you're like out of your depth, right?
Mm.
And then what do you do in those moments?
Most of the time, I try and approach it quite authentically. First of all, when I get the feeling that I'm out of my depth, I know that I've been there before. I've been out of my depth before. And I know that every single time I moved into it, there's always going to be this arena of power and dynamics testing you. You know, that's life. That's how you feel the growth of life. I have to be okay in those rooms to express myself fully, whether I'm out of my depth or, reaching, but I have to be okay with the realization that I am over the edge and I could fall. So getting comfortable with the idea of falling is a part of how you grasp something new. It really is. It's a plain and simple risk. It's always there. It's when you're in the immediate feeling of this is outside of my depth, it's the growth zone. And whether you fly or fall, both is going to offer you something. And that's something that I make peace with immediately.
Sure. That's yeah. That takes, so you're coupling. Where does that come from? Like, where does that ability to, like they say, a duck, at the top, the duck is looking like confident, if you can call it confident or able, or I like the word finesse. Make hard things look easy, finesse. But
Yeah.
below, we kicking like this, and that's the internal dialogue, right? And so for you, like, where is that, like, let's define it as confidence. How is that either built? Is it borrowed? You know,
Mm.
yeah. Is it built, borrowed? Is it like how did you just come up with that answer? Like, what?
Yeah. I think it's partly like it's forged in the fire. Look, I'm a woman of faith, right? So I believe in something greater than myself. I think one part definitely comes from that deep-rooted faith and understanding that there's an innate quality that's been put into me that might look like a natural confidence, maybe something that I had from a younger age. And I think the other part is every decision I've made throughout life and every consequence that came with that decision, whether it was good or bad. There was a time in my life where I kind of wanted to be a lot like other people, and I wanted to hide the story that is Veronica, or the scars of my life, or the impact that things have had on me. And the day I stopped doing that and just accepted that I might be slightly different in my way of thinking, and I might have a different way of maybe reviewing the world, is the day my confidence really always settled with me. That's how I took space in the room without wanting to. But underneath all of that has been a lot of hard work. I had to be accountable, self-aware. I had to own my blind spots. I had to be really sober-minded in my thinking. And I had to, despite all of that, define that it wasn't making me who I was, but also shaping to where I was moving towards. And that's why I have this depth in my answers, because I think I've just really gotten to understand who I am. And I love me for that. And I try to contribute into the environment with that.
Yeah. Ooh. I'm already 6 feet under. Like, yo, how much further? How much deeper do you want to go?
Good call.
Wow. So I was listening to Simon Sinek and Stephen Bartlett, and he mentioned they talk about a lot of stuff. Really cool. They're cool conversationalists. I think they've got good chemistry. And Simon Sinek, oh, they were talking about like how AI is whatever, AI is a lot of things to everyone. And Simon made an interesting mention where he's like, his next book is about how to make friends, right? And he was like, okay, there's not a lot of books out there that like how to make friends, like friends. There's a lot of relationship, blah blah blah, but like how to make friends. And I thought about it, and I was like, wow. But he's like, you mentioned, oh, I've now begun to really love myself, which sounds selfish. It sounds egotistic, but you are attracted technically to people who love themselves because you want some of them as a friend. You like if and that's so key, I think, in the process of making friends, because it's not a outside in thing; it's an inside out thing.
Yes. Well said.
Which is and I like how that rolled off your tongue so easily. I've like the scars and the work I've been doing on myself so that I can love myself. That's that's true. And out of that comes confidence, right?
Yes.
So for you, is confidence something you have or you do?
Again, such a good question. I think you also have a great way of viewing life. I think it always has a bit of a two-part thing, because of course you can have confidence where you wear clothes, you have a status, you can mimic it. Okay. You can fool a lot of people into allowing them to believe you got it all down and all figured out and you're in control. But it's more than that. All right. And it's also a matter of what you do, because some days you could wake up wearing that fancy clothes and have that great job and everything's kind of together, but inside you're lacking confidence, but outside it's a different reflection. So coming to what you said about that fine line of how sounding like you love yourself could be arrogance and not confidence, that fine line that is drawn between the two is actually something that people should be thinking about. Being around somebody that loves themselves in a healthy way is a safe space, because only hurt people, only people that don't fully love themselves will go out and be malicious and actually stumble other people. But if you are whole and healed and you kind of get yourself from the inside and you are not the clothes you wear, you're wearing the clothes, then you're good to be around. And that's good for everybody. And that's why confidence can be a do.
Okay, so then let's not talk past this topic, right, of having and doing. When was a moment for you where you didn't feel confident but acted like you were? And how did you play that out?
I've had a lot of those, I must be honest, in life. I've had a lot of those. And I must be grateful for the amount of adversity and stumbling blocks I've had, because it's really shaped me. And maybe, when I get older, I will thank people personally for how they've contributed to my life and giving me some wisdom in it. But maybe the most recent would be this last kind of year that I've been on the solo entrepreneurial journey. I feel like I stumbled into it. I don't think I had a great big vision and I was like, I was always going to do this. I think it was more of a pushed me into it. And I took it on and I was like, I'm going to do it. Nothing's going to make me, fail. And I look back at some of the content I was doing a couple of months ago and I'm like, what the heck? It's like really embarrassing, because in the moments that I was alone trying to figure out the tears, the sweat, the writing, the reshaping, the hassles, there were some dark days where I thought, what a joke. I can't believe you were so brave to put this content out, but I did.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
Oh, I'm smiling and laughing with you, because I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Like it's like no, I didn't even see that. I still, which is the beauty of social media, I still
Mm.
see that part of the beautiful book. Like I wouldn't want to read it any other way. I loved those videos. Like I was like, no one else is doing it like you know?
Oh, thanks.
So and I think those videos were amazing. Like and it shows like the standard you have, um the first, your last work should actually cringe you. Last thing you wrote should actually bring such cringe because you've moved past that standard, and that shows a real that shows character of a real artist, right?
Nice. That's
Your best
inspirational.
work is yet to come. Your best work is yet to come, you know
Sure.
um yeah, no, I can let you know. Great videos, like honestly,
Nice.
great
Thank
videos.
you. Very
Great
inspirational.
content.
Thank you.
Yeah, great videos. um yeah, thanks for sharing that. And that's honest. Like, so a lot of people, not a lot of people would come out and say that live,
Yeah.
um that takes a lot. That takes a lot. I think in I don't know if you watch any type of like Mexican movies, that take cojones, tío. Cojones, tío. Hey,
Yeah.
I don't know, have you ever heard them say that, like on
Yes.
Mexican? Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah,
have.
like, excuse my French, but
No, it's good.
yeah,
It's just
yeah,
going.
that takes a bit of cojones. So like, no, big ups to you, big ups to you. Okay, so do you trust yourself?
Mm. That's such a loaded question. My word, I feel like if you had to read into the depth of who I am and where I'd come from, I had a big stumbling block 10 years ago that I had to move from. And the biggest problem I
Mm,
had, from 2015 to now, really deeply within myself, was I didn't trust myself enough.
mm,
Do I trust myself now? Yes, fully. I feel like I've been in
mm,
places where my character was tested to the core of me. If I am who I
mm,
say I am, do I, walk my talk, no matter what comes across my path, how heated the pressure gets, I remain unchanged and I fully trust who I am.
mm. Take me 10 years back. What was that world like? What was bringing you to a space of not having the trust in yourself, not having that essence? What was happening in your world?
Yeah. Yeah, my life is growing up. It was just very different. Single parent home,
Mm,
moved a lot, different schools. There was a bit of inconsistency in that,
mm,
lacking rootedness, and um, you wouldn't have seen it off kind of from what I was putting forward to the world, because I was definitely ahead of myself at 26 in terms of where most 26 years olds were, because I started working at 18 and it was internships and management programs and really progressing through my career. And I had everything that looked really good on paper, and it looked like success as well. But uh, part of me in my personal capacity was easy. You could easily manipulate me and gaslight me, and I would
mm,
believe you. I wouldn't trust myself. So I lacked self-confidence in my value systems, who I said I was, what my true experiences were. And it got me to a point where I was so depressed that not even if I was winning big awards, or I had, the company car, or I was sitting in good spaces, nothing reconciled me to a full person. I felt empty.
mm,
And it really brings me into a space where I see a lot of our teenagers are, and youth are, in terms of like depression and bullying and suicide. And that's where I was. And I had to really overcome that place.
mm.
Yeah.
Sure. And what are some of the stories you used to tell yourself that you've outgrown?
That my voice doesn't matter. You know, what I say doesn't matter. What I see, how I see life doesn't matter. Because to be quite honest, I do life differently. I don't do it like the average person. I am
Mm,
really, in that sense, I can see my content is unique. The way I put myself out there is unique. The way I'm so expressive is unique. And I kept trying to say that that wasn't enough, that it needed to look like somebody else's. And now I'm kind of
mm,
looking at myself and I'm like, "Yeah, that's me. And that's how I
mm.
do things. And that's enough. And that's how my voice sounds. And that's my journey. And that's okay. That's enough."
That is okay. It is okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your protocol? Like, I do believe, you fit, you've got your sports, you enjoy your sports. So I think there is some type of um, process to the madness.
Yeah.
Do you have like some type of protocol to build confidence in yourself or reinvigorate the confidence? Do you have some type of protocol?
Yeah, I have two things. I walk to clear my mind.
Mm,
There's moments where it seems like a very simple thing, but when you're stagnating in a place where you're actually, your confidence is shaking, sometimes
mm,
when you do something as practical as getting out just to take a brisk walk, get your body moving, and be a little bit mindful about the environment, processing, but not really focused on the exact thing that you're trying to think about. It
mm,
reboosts my confidence because if I take that walk and I come back 45 minutes later, I feel like a new person. A new idea has come
mm,
up, or suddenly that big problem just went into, it's very small. Um, the other thing I do is I write, and I write a lot. And I write to create a clear narrative in my understanding, to break down complexity. And, besides eating well and doing kind of physical activity, I need to find ways to stimulate myself intellectually and also spiritually. And that is a matter of creating clarity within myself. And writing allows me
mm.
to do that.
Wow. Yeah, we're on the same boat there. I also I do enjoy a walk, and I also, yeah, I write. But for me, the walking comes easy because I enjoy the
Mm.
outdoors and the physical, you know, change that happens. I even know I've got a standing desk but the writing is hard for me. The writing
Mm.
is there's this wall that I need to get over, and it's like this blank piece of paper, and you don't know what to write about. The mind is so busy,
Yeah.
and for me, it's actually not that easy to write. It's actually it's one of the things that I say, the unseen work. This is the work that no one sees.
Mm-hmm.
This is like this is the work that no one is seeing. The reps that no one is seeing. That's the
Yeah.
writing for me. You know.
Yes.
Um, is it easy for you to just write? Do you enjoy it? Or does it take a bit of like?
It does. It takes a bit because it's actually asking quite a bit from you. It's authentic, right? It's real. And sometimes you purposefully are trying to avoid something. So when you're maybe just sitting down and you're keeping the thoughts in your mind, you can easily evade it by thinking of something else. But when you're writing, it becomes an intentional moment where you need to clarify something. So I would
Mm,
also sometimes avoid writing because I didn't really want to address something inside of me until
mm,
when I've written these drafts, these books, I'll probably never publish them, but I always write them as if they're going to be published. Man, the stuff is
mm,
fully professional. The layout is there, but it's not, nobody's going to see it. It's just for me. And that's how I treat the seriousness of the process. And it gets me over the lack of kind of accountability to take this seriously.
oh, who's that?
Wow. I rescued a dog.
Oh wow! I didn't. Oh, that's
Yeah.
new, right?
Yes, I rescued her 2 months ago. So she's already 8 years old. Her
Oh,
name is Yara.
oh, so cute. I was like, whoa, is that an AI?
No.
um, um, those micro deposits of writing and doing the hard thing is a foundation for confidence.
Yes.
Right? Because I figured out that, that soldier thing where it's like, make your bed, turn on the kettle, brush your teeth. Those, if you don't, and that's the promises you make to yourself. Because hey, you don't have to make a bed. You don't have to brush your teeth. Like,
Yeah.
but those are promises for yourself. The moment you break those micro promises, you can't even do what's good for you. So why would the world do anything good for you?
Yes.
Then your confidence broken. Oh, I can't even make my bed. Why should I trust myself to even go and close that deal? I can't do it.
Yes.
I can't make my bed. Why would I even think that I could run a marathon? Like, who am I?
Yeah. Because that's the irony, right? Your brain's not doing anything for anyone else. It's literally just trying to keep you to survive. So when you are letting yourself down as a first priority, it's not going anywhere after that. It's just going to try and get you back to getting yourself right first before it can expand into anything other.
Okay, so then let's go a little bit left on this then. AI.
Yes.
Writing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to write anymore.
Yeah.
I don't.
It really depends, right? It depends on how you see the creative process here, because you could just let the machine narrate a story for you. But if you value authenticity, you can only just use it to refine your grammar, so you're still engaging with it. When you ask ChatGPT how it engages with you and other people, you will learn that it has a different level of how AI is being used by people. Some are deeming it just as a platform tool. Some are driving more kind of depth and intentional questions to it, and therefore the exchange changes. So you have to really define how you want your exchange to be with AI. Do you want it to, fully start narrating the version of who the machine says and thinks you are, or are you staying in control of your authenticity and merely using it as a point of enhancement to you?
So how do you see that taking or adding to confidence?
I think it can. I think it can do both. It's always going to come back to the human, right? It's going to be about how you treat it and how you allow yourself to sell out to something. I'm too authentic in that sense. I value my voice, my experiences, and the creative process in trying to get clear on something. So personal growth is important to me. But if I sell out to take shortcuts and just have it narrate to me so that I can remain relative and drive, content, volume, content pushing out, then that's the goal. But I'm not really growing from it. So it can do both.
100%. What would you say to yourself 10 years ago if you saw yourself today? Just what would you say?
I know for a fact if I had to, and through some sort of quantum entanglement, find myself having a conversation with myself 10 years ago, I know no matter nothing I say will change the decisions I make, because I'm stubborn sometimes and I have to sometimes learn the hard way. And that's my blind spot. And I know it. All right. So I will realize that the importance would be just to keep going through it, to keep making your decisions, to keep feeling your way through what fits, and to do so with enthusiasm, to just not lose your confidence, to not get shaken when you feel out of place, or when people tell you you're out of place, to keep still being you. And I wouldn't tell myself to make other decisions, because I feel I value what I've learned through those decisions. I will say to keep staying confident in yourself.
Brilliant answer. I value you. I really do. I think you're an amazing woman, honestly. Like
Thank
your
you.
best work hasn't even been um, shown. And I hope I'm graced with the more years of life and you to see that work. Like I'm already over the moon just, with what like who you are now. But like knowing myself, like I'm also a bit of like a future thing. I'm dangerously even scared. I'm envious of like what's to come. So like,
Yeah.
no, thank you, Veronica. Like it's like it's like hey, like like this is it's crazy,
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I really do value you. And just in closing, um, you know, we could go on forever. Like I wanted
For
to go
sure.
down the AI route, but I'm happy you went AI, but then you said a person. It's the people. You didn't go too deep into the tech side, and I know we'll do this again, but you know, what question do you think I should have asked you, but for some reason I didn't have the confidence to? Like, listen to what I'm saying. It's not the question I should have. What question should I have asked you, but for some reason I didn't have the confidence to?
Yeah. Geez, Jason, what a question. What the heck? um, I think the biggest thing that you probably avoided was the reality of fear. We
Mm,
can talk about confidence and big concepts of points of reflection and utilizing tools like AI to enhance us. But what is our limiting beliefs, our real fears? Because there are
mm,
most of the time real things happening in our life, things that are shaking us to our core. Things that make us carry shame and guilt. And maybe we are too embarrassed or prideful to talk about it because we want to show the world our best foot forward. So um, I think that's the authenticity that actually is the some of the foundation to confidence. But nobody really wants to talk about the deep and stuff, the negative stuff. So, but that's probably the only thing that I think always stays without being addressed.
what are you most fearful of right now, Veronica?
Um, in reality, there's been moments where I'm fearful of letting myself down, of allowing concepts of other people's ideas of me to get into my head.
Mm,
Um, I've experienced some real intimidation that makes me really question myself sometimes. And the biggest fear I
mm,
have is letting myself down by believing those limiting thoughts. And um,
mm,
yeah, I have to constantly take that captive and redefine my way of thinking to move
yeah,
forward, because the world is a strange place, and there's real things to worry about, besides all the silver linings and the polished outlooks and posts. There are real things that can come against you.
yeah, there is. Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Veronica. Um, as usual, please do let us know where we can find you. And also, if there's anything that you want to say in terms of someone could help you or how you could help them, my platform is at your discretion.
Yeah.
In closing,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you so much for having me. It's always good to be in such an authentic conversation with you. I think this is a great platform, a really great space. I'm also looking forward to watching you thrive in your new spheres of thinking. And I'm also always inspired and encouraged by everything that you do. I really feel like you
Thank
live
you.
a life that is full and also really brave. So thank you for that. I think
Thank
if
you.
anyone wants to reach out, they can reach out on LinkedIn. I have a couple of things that I'm working on at the moment, but if anyone is maybe looking for a bit of motivation, inspiration, I think I really want to kind of test my feet in that keynote motivational speaker space. I'd love to come in and uplift teams, help reshape narratives around bridging across different industries, new skill sets, maybe overcoming some limiting beliefs. Yeah, you're welcome to reach out to me.
Wow. I'm going to be the first one to reach out. You know that. Thank you. I am.
Nice. I'm
All
looking
right.
forward to it.
Thanks, Veronica.
All
Yeah.
right. Thanks,
This is
Jason.
brilliant. Cheers.
Bye.